Well.
Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Tonight, taking a look at the Retro Collection release of Luke Skywalker. So let's head to that table and check this one out. Taking a look at the card first, and they do give you the styling of that original vintage line. Difference with these cards are that you're going to get the white worn edges printed all around the card. I gotta say, while I'm not a fan of those worn edges, it works very well. It does indeed look, I guess, good for what they're trying to achieve. And also to let you know that this is part of the Retro Collection, you got that huge sticker at the bottom of the card. Otherwise, though, the rest of that look carries from the original line and, of course, the Vintage Collection line, giving you the big Star Wars logo with the racetrack around the sides. Great image of Luke Skywalker as he's looking off into the sunset, so I really like that image. And through the blister, of course, you do see your figure. On the back side of the card, the top half gives you a small write-up about the Retro Collection, showing you some sketch artwork of the 6 figures that are available in this line, although Tarkin is available, just not shown here. And just below that, you got the names printed out of the figures that you're able to get. Bottom half of the card is your legal information. Taking a look at the figure now out of the packaging, and when I say this, of course, keep in mind that we're going off of a late 70s figure. 78 was when this guy was originally released, and I can say it just looks fantastic. So I don't have the original vintage one to compare with. From the photos I've seen online, it does seem like this one stands just a little bit shorter. The hair might be a little bit of a brighter yellow. It's possible that the skin tones are different. That could be a variation, though, in the photo that I saw. And the pants look like they're a darker tan color. But as I already mentioned, that's just going from photos that I've seen online. I don't have the original, so don't hold me to that all that much. Going in for a closer look at that head, though, you know, the sculpting isn't bad. And since I was only 3 when these figures came out, I don't even know what action figures looked like at that time to really give a basis of comparison. Obviously now things are, you got photoreal face painting, so things are looking really great. But you still get the point that this is Luke Skywalker with that blonde hair, very blonde in this case. Sculpting to it's looking pretty good with some nice layers of hair and whatnot sculpted in there the way it's laying. The painting on these figures, all of these Retro Collection figures, has just been very sharp, staying pretty well within the lines. So that yellow is not bleeding anywhere off onto the face. The eyes and the eyebrows have a pretty nice paint job to it, once again looking like it did on the vintage original figure. Flesh tones, though, of the face to the neck in this case, not quite matching up. One thing, though, I would say is that the face seems pretty glossy, where that neck does not have any gloss applied to it. It's a very flat color applied. As for the chest and the arms, things are looking very good. Obviously, the detailing of it looks just like Farm Boy Luke's looks with the white robes that he's wearing. For the arms, there's some very subtle wrinkling in there, especially where the elbow bends. As they had on the original fingers, in his right hand is where the lightsaber is sculpted into his hand or molded in there. The midsection of his chest looks really good. You can definitely make out that that tunic is folded over. So you do have a pretty decent layering look there. Through his waist, not necessarily a belt sculpted on, but you do have a belt painted on. Painting's looking pretty good. You even got a little belt buckle sculpted in there. As it was on the original figure, it's stained white. There's no additional painting for that belt buckle. Off to the side, you do even have a little pouch and, I don't know, something off to the side of that pouch. Not quite sure what that is, but get something sculpted on there. And then for the legs, pretty basic look, but it's pants. So you got some draping in there, especially around the kneecaps. And some pretty decent sculpting for the boots that he's wearing also. On the back of the leg is going to be your touch of modern here, where you get the date stamp printed on there. And for articulation, everything's same as you had with the original line. That head is just going to swivel. Both arms do swivel all the way around at the shoulders. And then his legs bend forward straight out. But to get them to bend back, you only have just the tiniest amount. Essentially, it just makes him look like he's leaning back a little bit. Because of the way he's sculpted with the draping of that tunic he's wearing, there's just nothing going back, but who really bends their legs backwards anyways? You want him to sit in his land speeder and stuff. As far as accessories, as I mentioned, he comes with that lightsaber sculpted into his hand. What you have is a telescoping lightsaber, and why they released him with yellow, I have no idea. It was not a yellow lightsaber in the movie, it was blue. Anyways, we end up with a yellow lightsaber. You just slide that out. Pushing on that little tab on the back side of his arm, and of course you can slide it back in and even slide it all the way out from the back of the shoulder if you didn't want it showing in his hand at all, since you're always left with that little thin tab piece sticking out at the front. Coloring to this is a nice vibrant yellow. It does seem a little bit brighter than what I saw for photos on the original one. Your accessories are a little bit different, but not overly noticeable from the original line with these new retro figures. So overall, like I said, in my hand, this looks just like the original vintage Luke Skywalker. And even though there may actually be a few variances, I think those are very minimal. But like I said, even though I never had this figure, I'm very excited to have a vintage-looking Luke Skywalker in my hands, one that's shiny, bright, and brand new. And even though there may be some small differences with that original one, he still fits in very nicely with the other figures that were actually released back in that time. So I really hope Hasbro continues to do more of these figures. And that wraps up this look at Luke Skywalker from the Retro Collection. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.